Alrighty, here we have it. Same lobby, same players. The story continues. Who will end inside the top 25 to jump your way out into the finals, and then we'll start putting our lens towards that lower bracket. This is going to become more and more of this theme and the story of today. Can you play consistently? And if you've already proven that you can, what is your finals going to look like as we're going to start seeing new teams enter into the fold? It is kind of interesting that we're going to see plenty of different teams qualing out of places like the Frenzy Farms and the Grim Gates. However, when we get to finals, I mean, the entire conversation is going to shift up as we start seeing new teams decide to go head-to-head. Mixon and Paco go for a different drop here. Taco, they take the opposite side of the buildings, and instead get landed on directly. So this is a straight-up potential toe-to-toe there. Zypha and Costa have now shifted the shoes to the other feet, if you will.
Paco and Mixon actually gonna, well, for a moment I thought they were just gonna fall back entirely from Lovely Lodge, but it does appear as though Costa and Zypha just got a little bit more of that outdrop potential. Edgy, though, finds himself getting knocked. Tavern trying to do what he can to fight back. Aoxy so incredibly low. Jojo Fishy, though, doing an excellent job to provide coverage, and now Tavern, he's looking for the escape path. He knows just how low Aoxy has got to be at this point, but with a fully healthy Jojo Fishy, it's not going to be easy. However, Jojo, 12 bullets left. The pickup, though, of this green Frenzy Auto could be the difference maker, and sure enough, Tavern not going to be able to rock this one out. Edgy and Tavern trying their best, man, but
this is something to think about. Edgy and Tavern have 50 points, and that is the prime example of you can have a good game one, and if you don't lock in for 2 and 3 and get an okay performance and secure some points, you can very well be stuck playing 3 more games where the bar raises even higher, right? You got to get top 15 at that point. So, I mean, pressure's on now.
They were 8th leading into this one, though, so as long as Game 3 doesn't get dudded out like this one, do think that Edgy and Tavern are going to be able to hold on to their current position. But yeah, it does give some consideration towards the fact of how direct do we want this 50-50 to be, just because we were able to net 50 points in the first game, right? And now, taking a look over at some teams here in Mount Olympus, Tony trying to go toe-to-toe, loses a good chunk of his shields for it. And there's no time to get his health back up. Zeus just running this man down. That's going to be a quick elimination now for Pikes and Zeus as they get both of them here at Mount Olympus. And now, area looking relatively open for these two to just finalize their loot-up position.
Yeah, all things considering, you know, Zeus can be more of a fitting name for the Mount Olympus here.
You kind of have to drop there, right?
That's it, dude. He's got the whole drop on lock. Jumping in with Magia Jr. here, though. What's happening right now? He doesn't have a teammate, but he's got a down player on the other side here. So Chewbacca's very much an experienced competitor. It's not going to be an easy fight for Junior to pull through. Oh, but he gets his finish here, and he gets to secure some of that loot. That's pretty important.
It's definitely a nice one, but it's going to come down to Mew versus Junior. And Junior really trying to keep the Brazilian dreams alive here for him and his duo Hazents. They're playing from out of Mexico, I believe, this season. So as far as they're concerned, they're coming 12th in that first lobby. They don't want to see their run cut short here because, again, even with 40 points, it's not enough room to kick back and relax. Although Junior might have had an opportunity there to pick up his duo's card. Walkers and Fatch also caught in a bit of a snare here. Walkers tries to get that splash off, but instead he's going to meet the other end of Raze's barrel. A Gatekeeper shotgun posing such a big threat. And Raze, he's actually going to opt to just try and go for the immediate revive here. Walker is a little bit too low, but he doesn't want to allow this to go for free.
That's a great tag here. I'm a big fan of Walker's and what he's capable of when it comes down to these fighting type clutch-up moments. But when you have a third party like this firing in with those mythic waterbenders, I mean, what can you really do? Walker's needs to find a new angle here. Yeah, he's gonna decide to go in and get on out of there. He probably has his teammates reboot card, so He'll live to see another day here. This is at the fencing fields, highly contested draw spot, one of the most contested here on the NA region. Whether it's upper, whether it's lower, it's day 1, day 2 semis, it's been insane the amount of teams that have expressed interest in the drop. We get to jump in right now. Paco, and Mixon here. It's not looking too good as Zypha and Costa are hot on the pressure right here.
Yeah, Zypha and Costa clearly want revenge after that first game, and Mixon looking a little bit shambles. So much of his material has got to be running incredibly low. Meanwhile, Zypha, Costa in the 2 versus 1 scenario, they're not willing to let Mixon escape anytime soon. They're going to see this one through no matter what it takes. Mixon, though, returning fire, putting a lot of the pressure now onto Costa to make up for his duo, but there's just not enough left in the bank there for Mixon. The third-party endeavors, though, have got to be rather irritating at this point. Costa and Zypha, they've got decent materials, though. They can build their way out of this, but you can expect they might look to pay a visit to the teams over by Unmoored Manor.
What's the best part about that is that third-party team was specifically choosing to shoot the duo, Costa and Zypha, and not the solo. Very Grief vibes, love it. Look at this, Magia Jr. going crazy right now, takes down X-Pawn. That's the first elimination that we knew happened. Tries to get the reboot, and then Mew pushes in, and it looks like he just gets completely outplayed. Oh my gosh, the ramp overhead and then forced and coned up, boxed up there. Well played from Magia. Hey man, you love to see that kind of level of play in action.
Yeah, if Hesitance wasn't already amping his teammate up, he's definitely got to be after that one. Just an excellent job to try and maintain their focus on recovering some resources, recovering some materials, and focusing one more time on those placements. You know, another 40-point match on that leaderboard to elevate them towards that 80-point threshold range would be relatively safe. I believe in EU, the cutoff ended up being 88 points. So a lot of these teams definitely just going to keep the focus going in terms of placements outright. Pump with this waterbending mythic, man. It has certainly been a hot priority or hot commodity throughout semis.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, I'd get my 80 and just log off for the night, but that wouldn't actually cut it. It might be really close. Duke Samiro here at 88. That's the exact threshold that we're likely thinking is going to be the cutoff point. So any eliminations here should lock things up. Miro's going to find the full finish onto one of the 2 opponents here. Dukes is still on the hunt, though. They do know there was one here, but no, actually, that was the full finish there. Let's take a look at Costa really quickly, though. Oh, Walker's trying to make it to the reboot van after he disengaged. Costa and Zypha get in here. Man, Costa and Zypha are on a tear right now from the south side, cleaning up, Mixon and Paco there, straight into Walker's, who was just trying to get a pickup, so badly timed.
They're not the only ones encountering some pretty heavy difficulties here. Pikes, wow, just shredded by that epic Ranger pistol. Els and Hades reaping the full benefits. 4 bananas as well. That's a pretty impactful amount of bananas, especially coming out of Brawler's Battleground. They'll be swift with the rotates, I'm sure. And they can also play a little bit more of the Storm. We've seen teams already here today opting to play from deeper inside of the zones, willing to take some of that earlier Storm damage, since it's not as threatening when it's in that 1-tick, 2-tick threshold. But still want to be careful. Still want to keep your wits about you. That seems to be the case here as well for Clix and Epic over by Lavish Lair. Got a couple of teams drifting over from Rebel's Roost, and Clix also very wary of Braids and Visuals inside of their Surge base. '19th on that leaderboard currently as well. 24 points, and considering how first game ended up for them, where Braids and Visuals were actually able to bully Clix and Epic off of the weapons bunker, Braids and Visuals definitely trying to pose a big problem for all of these teams inside of Lavish Lair. They will eventually have to rotate from their surge base, but the fact that they built up this tower in the first place, it's a great way for them to basically measure where teams are rotating from, if anybody else is going to be coming from that northwest side of the map. But they will eventually have to give up this positioning and move inwards.
I'll be honest, I would just keep going up and basically die at this point. What a tower. My gosh, they even have floorboards on those. It's crazy how this has kind of become the meta. You see it happening everywhere. It's not like that much structurally better, like it's just a cone, but for whatever reason it looks fancy, so.
Kind of looks like a flower blooming.
Take a look at Khanada and Cooper right now at the edge of Groom Gate, so the zone's already pulling his way. We know NPen was lurking nearby earlier as well, who had just picked up a couple eliminations. Talk about these big bases. You have Khanada inside of one right now as well. Looking for anything that's going to be moving here, but very, very unlikely given the major cities nearby. Much different story over here on the east side, though. There's always foot traffic over here.
I actually think it's Sphinx and Threats, though, who could profit the most from this. They had a bit of a surge tower that they built up just north of where this little skirmish is taking place. So Carrot, Sieges, Easiness, and Na'Vi, they've got to be real careful about where they choose to take their fights, because if the wrong wall gets edited or removed and they find themselves with an open line of sight, Threats and Sphinx are bound to take full advantage of it. Just get some tags in the process, and the resources, material count already falling relatively low here for Carrot. Trying to do what he can to force back Easiness and Na'Vi. Na'Vi with no shields, though. If Carrot sees any white tags onto Na'Vi, that might be the opportunity to key, but instead, Na'Vi finally finding a moment to breathe. Some Chug Splash is going to come out. But just how many Chug Splashes do Easiness and Na'Vi have realistically? Because this brawl has been going on for a decent amount of time already.
Yeah, definitely a big standoff here. You have Threats firing up in the sky right now. What's going on here? Is he looking at the Rift Island? Is someone potentially rifting? Oh, he sees a player way off. Now you see why the angle's so high. It's a player in a big base on another mountain across from him.
Threats trying to focus on that bullet drop off as well, where he's aiming that DMR. It's come relatively close a couple of times, checking bushes as well. Just scoping out the entire vicinity. Wants to fully ensure that he is well protected, but also still maintaining the necessary surge. Or a little bit of a crack there.
Sphinx is all the way on the other side as well, so a lot of focus there on the idea of trying to find damage right now. Rift Island's going to go ahead and appear here. Aviv and Chubbs are going to be the first to secure the location. Surprisingly, though, no other teams rush the Rift Island, so they're just going to get the capture point for free, uncontested, and honestly, they need the brick as well, so great find for them. This should be likely an excellent game for Aviv and Chubbs here, but Cooks and Epic Whale, seems like so far they've really had a problem trying to find their surge, and they're forced into an early game engagement, and the fact that they're fighting like this, so aggressively pushing in with this, what I'd look to see is a pretty bad loadout, is telling us that they haven't gotten to a good fight yet. And they recognize, even before any warning come out, that they need damage, they need eliminations.
It also looks like they weren't successful with a weapons bunker in this game either.
Yeah.
Based on this loot. NPen, though, could be in even more dire circumstances than Clix and Epic. That HP falling incredibly low, and again, as you already pointed out, Epic and Clix, they are playing dummy aggressive right now. Like, they want a refresh, but they really just want the damage. They're clearly also hoping that if they're able to eliminate a duo or a solo even, that the loot off the body would maybe give them some slight upgrades here, because a great Thunderburst is not the position you want to be in, departing from the mid-game towards the late.
This is smart. The early rotate, when they knew NPen and Pump were already hurt, they just left them there in a storm and then cut them off. NPen and Pump, though, also smart. No better than to go straight to the zone. That'd be a dead giveaway. And they're gonna wrap around kind of the way that Clicks and them went, and they might actually jump on this train that's passing by. That'd be so genius. I hope they catch it.
They have actually jumped on top of it.
It's good. It works out. All right, let's go. We need a shot. We need a shot of Endpen taking a ride right now. He's
just trying to figure out.
Clicks knows. Look, they're like, they gotta be on this train. Like, where else are they? Yup. Get on it. Come on. Okay.
I'm surprised that they didn't opt to just join the battle onto the train, but maybe just felt like they're too exposed.
Yeah, no, that'd be crazy. You can't build on it, right? Like, all your builds get destroyed.
Well, they're also back into the storm. Granted, they already waited out at this point for the capture of the train. They want the resources. They could definitely use a good refresh on shield, and that's something that the train can definitely be excellent at providing. But the further they go, MDF, they're going to have to eventually track back.
I don't know how I feel about this anymore. This is a long ride here. Jump off, brother. Go.
Some weapon upgrades? I'm not sure this is worth it at this point.
Look at the map. Look at the map there in the top left.
Oh, they might just choose to wait for it to loop back in.
They're going to go all the way around. Yeah, they're just going to ride the train back into the city. All right, this is great.
Storm sickness could be a problem for them later on, though.
This is great. Oh, I think they realize, hey, look, the train is probably too slow. We got to go now. Take the foot route, the scenic route. All right, well, while Pump and Endpen were keeping us entertained, more fights are going on around the world. Take a look at this. Yep, Thoric getting his hands dirty here. Game 7 School on top of it right now. Goes from the high ground down. It's onto Mega and uses the quick finish here. And that's going to put them right back into the game. Big eliminations, big points, big material. And then you have Clicks and Epic Whale. They couldn't find Endpen and company, so they find another team in the Storm, and this is great for them right now, as they absolutely needed this damage here. Look at how they went from -70 to well above 200 on the Surge. That's okay for now, but they will for sure want to finish a second player if possible.
Clicks also definitely needed a big refresh on his resources in general, taking full advantage of everything that was just dropped. Aoxy tried to do what he could at the end, but just too much pressure being applied from Clicks and Epic. It's about what you'd expect, though, from a desperate play. Desperate times call for desperate measures, man. And in the case of Clicks and Epic, you already know the Clicksters are going to be very happy to see them walk away from that one.
Big fan of what we've been seeing out of Khanada and Cooper so far. The consistency is one to admire. All about the Surge as well. They just seem to have everything on lock right now. They're finding their tags. They're making their way to endgame. It's like they're playing a completely different game. Because even when you weigh their performances across other very notable, very, very excellent duos, they're just apparently better, more consistent. Their entire strategy, rock solid. Speaking about those types of duos, hinting at Dukes and Miro's underperformance, but right now they are flying quite literally. 6 eliminations, much earlier than we've seen before, and this is the pop-off game they've been looking for. Oh my gosh.
The chains of Hades players, though, man. Merciless so far, but Dukes is just better, man. That's really all it comes down to. Massive moment there. Granted, Dukes and Miro were already looking pretty set as far as qualifying to grand finals off of the points they were able to establish in game 1. They were second on the leaderboard after all, but hey, why not just remind everybody exactly who you are on NA, because Dukes and Miro is certainly two of NA's finest as far as competition is concerned, and they are proving it here today.
Epic Whale and Clicks not content with their current situation, their material status. Trying to force another fight here. And I do mean force. They are literally picking players of full box builds. They don't care. They're trying to see what's available to them right now and get how much it costs them. A lot of HP, a lot of shields here coming out the zone. Down to the wire. Here we have a comeback in Convict right now. 3 Elans so far, not bad. Zone's right in front of them as well.
Seems like Chronic's just waiting for a team to come running out from under the bridge. Given that a lot of congestion is definitely starting to pool up in the higher side of the bridge, but good light up in the sky. No rotation is safe at this point. And now, come back in Convict. Gonna catapult themselves a little bit further, make sure they kind of hover more towards that front side of the zone. And just looking back constantly, wanting to ensure that they're kind of controlling how the lobby actually is able to rotate.
4 elims now. They get that refresh they were looking for. I'd say it was worth it. Look at the material count now. Clicks and Epic Whale sitting very comfortably. However, they do not have that much damage. Even with all the action we've seen them take and fight and play through, they've just found eliminations clean outright. They haven't really tagged players. They haven't really been able to get situated and start, you know, to take the lead, if you will, on the surge thresholds. But luckily, this lobby's cutting down pretty quickly here now. It's not going to be a problem for the time being. Bryson Bolt's on the move right now. Blueberry Fizz keeping them on a quick rotate here. They're in position on the side of the mountain. Not quite safe just yet, but no one is.
It's just wild to see how these players have managed to adapt throughout the course of this weekend, trying to familiarize themselves with that low mobility that has certainly come into play, because if you don't have Flurberry Fizz or Bananas, Dukes, Chains of Hades, Junior was getting a lot of pop-offs earlier on, but Dukes just adding to the count at this point, rounding them up, it seems like.
He's figured it out, man. This Chains of Hades right here. Look, no shield, no health, nothing to work with. So, you know what? Let's just get a refresh, man. Let's do it. Ooh, Miro destroyed his shield right there. Getting greedy with the rotate. It's going to force down a mech here from Dukes here. Dukes going to have to take the lead on the rotate right now. More greed as they cut across, trying to not build it all here. Has to be careful. We haven't seen Dukes look up for high ground, so not sure if anyone's situated just yet, but he's so focused on getting to the front side. Excellently done there. Stay position up. And it's Cease and Jack who might have the highest opportunity for height, but no, Decay and Sigma waste no time securing high ground there. The hesitation set in the lobby, and they just jumped up for it.
Everybody kind of just making that note. A little subtle one in the back of their minds. Khanada, another player, is always going to be adamant about who's on height when, because you know that Khanada and Cooper are just waiting for their opportunity to strike. They're trying to maintain this secondary height layer. They're not really in any sort of rush in comparison to a lot of these other players who are just barely above that damage threshold. Might be a little bit more in a panic situation in terms of staying ahead of the zone, trying to get better positioning so they can tag players coming in from behind. Chimp and Scissor looks like they've caught wind of Threats and Sphinx on the rotate. Likely only a matter of time before they start to apply some pressure. And now Khanada, Cooper.
Break this.
They don't care about breaking it though. They're just gonna stay directly underneath. Khanada still not gauging that the time is right just yet, but Threats and Sphinx have worked their way up now to the mid-ground. Still room though for Khanada and Cooper to operate in.
Mira still alive as well, taking the front side of the rotate here. Duke swings around the back, and there was a player on his edge there, clips him. 9 eliminations for Dukes and Mira. The last 2 games, they have started to really turn online here. Taking a monstrous lead as far as eliminations are concerned to the rest of the lobby. It hasn't come without its troubles. Their early game still needs a lot of work. They want to perform well towards finals. Sphinx and Threats get taken out in the mid-ground, so things didn't go their way. Meanwhile, Clicks and Epic Whale at the front side of zone here. 4 elims making up for that shortcoming last game, that top 15 performance here. Already trending their way up towards the top 10 potentially here as Dukes and Miro keep ripping through the mid-ground of this lobby here. Almost out of mats, though. Forced to get into another fight, and they're just continuing the press here. Why not? They're healthy.
Yeah, Convict and Comeback, they were just trying to take a second after eliminating Threats and Sphinx, but Dukes and Miro, it is all gas currently, just continuously pressing forward. Clicks and Epic tried to work up from the low ground, but they're going to be stuck now, forced to play the back of zone. Epic doesn't really have any shield to work with, and now Comeback, Convic. Still trying to hold it down. Only a little bit more Flowberry Fizz left to go, but Dukes has finally lost Miro in the process, as well as all of his builds. He's gonna have to try and play a little bit more isolated, but it's not gonna be enough. Gets lit up the moment that he tries to drop the low. That'll be the end of his run in lobby number 2, but a lot of points accrued so far as Clicks. Beautiful piece up there. Chronic gonna get shut down, but Clicks, no, he can't get away with the loot. It's Cooper and Khanada who take him out.
Doesn't matter. Epic will just shut down everyone in that engagement. He's gonna get so many points here inside the top 10. Clearly just better, but not before Khanada and Cooper send him back to the lobby. You've done well, son. But Khanada and Cooper are here to try to finish the job. We already knew Sigma gave up the high ground. They started to run out of material. They committed so much to try to secure the dominating angle. However, how far did that get him? Yeah, just 10 HP and a dream at this point. He is going to be forced down. This should be all she wrote for Cooper and Khanada. And they close things out, and they finally secure a win this weekend.
Yeah, as already touched on in first match, I mean, these guys had 6 top 5s throughout the course of day 1 and 2 upper bracket. Here today, in number 3, they find their Victor Royale monster. It's basically they were already locked in for the grand finals, but this is really just the cherry on top.
You know, it was just about time. It was a matter of time, but it kind of shows you what happens when Khanada and Cooper had the pressure released off their shoulders from their game 1 performance. They played well, and all of a sudden they came in, they're like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag. No pressure, no sweat. We all know Cooper plays much, much better once he finds his confidence. So this could be truly setting him up for great finals, and that's really all they needed this weekend to kind of solidify their new legacy, if you will, with this fresh duo right here. So well played for them. They end up cleaning up house in the end there, and they pick up the Victor Royale here for game number 2. Khanada and Cooper are going to the finals, confirmed. You saw it here first, Taco.
Yeah, it's got to be an awesome feeling for both Khanada and Cooper. Khanada especially, though, 22 times of grand finals locked in. Well, what an amazing feat to accomplish. But Zeke, Vivid, and Kelly, what else have you got for us?